to Decatur.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here.
We're here at the Oglesby mansion with Ed. Ed is the author of The Lincoln Miracle, which describes Lincoln's rise to the presidency and the Republican convention in Chicago in particular. And I really enjoyed reading your passage that describes, Lincoln's early presence here, that difficult late winter of 1830 when he arrived,
Yes.
and then a description of Oglesby. But maybe before I ask you about that, any thoughts or feelings about being here in Decatur, which is associated, of course, with Lincoln's early presence here in the state?
Well, I've just written about Decatur, but I've never been here, so it's just a thrill to be here and to see the site of the wigwam and the state convention, and to see where Lincoln was sleeping when they came and woke him up and said, "Come over here."
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. It's such a vibrant, nice city. It's great to be here.
Well, thank you very much. One sentence you used to describe Oglesby, which I hadn't thought of it in these terms before, was you described some of his talents were the talents of a showman.
Yeah.
Could you talk to that a bit?
Well, I think he was a PR genius to hit on the idea of rail splitter for Lincoln. That played right into the 1860s zeitgeist, which was very democratic. It was Horatio Alger stories, people rising from nothing. And I think that was a very resonant image with the voters in the 1860 election, that this guy split rails. He wasn't just somebody who didn't work his way up, and that was very powerful. It was also powerful with the elites who looked down on Lincoln as a rail splitter, but that was the other side of the coin. So I thought it was really an ingenious thing, and to bring John Hanks into the state convention with some of the rails Lincoln had split, and it's just a great idea.
You described how at the wigwam here in Decatur, how he was brought in on a rail, and how Lincoln was maybe a bit awkward with this. Maybe he hadn't yet totally.
Yeah, Lincoln seemed to want to downplay his background. He was almost not quite ashamed, but he thought there was nothing great about growing up poor and having to do manual labor. So he kind of said, well, he had to quote, I can't quote it exactly, but I did a good many rails, and some better than these. And so he was, I think he was a little surprised by that whole episode, but it really worked for him in the election, that's for sure.
Yeah. One of the funny stories that we've heard about what happened after the convention was that there were all these rail fences in Decatur, and the Pennsylvania Convention had discovered this, and soon every rail in Decatur was sold off as one that Lincoln had
sold as souvenirs. It was so interesting how the 19th century just loved these souvenirs, and they actually in Chicago the week of the convention, after Lincoln was nominated, people went out and grabbed any rails they could find to march around the streets. And they even raided hardware stores and took all the brooms out and carried those. So it was a very resonant image.
Yeah. Well, thank you again so much for
thank you.
Decatur as well.
It's so great to be here. Thank you.